Okay guys, so in this video we are going to use the Tkinter library, that is from tkinter import star. We are going to use Tkinter library in Python, and we are going to make a simple GUI, a simple calculator GUI. So let me show you how it will look at the end. So we'll have something which looks like this. Here it is. So we'll have a calculator. We can do addition and subtraction and all these stuff. You can clear the screen. We'll make this, and while making this we'll go through some basic widgets and functionality of the Tkinter library. Okay, so let's begin. So first we import all the classes from Tkinter import star. The star imports everything from it, and the basic thing which we have to do in every program where we use tk, we have to define this tk class and we have to run the main loop. The line 3 here, this creates a new window and the main loop starts the event loop. So let me just first save this file calc.py and let me run it. So what we have is a simple window, nothing on it, a simple window with the name tk and nothing on it. This main loop is running continuously to capture all the user events, right? So let us now give it a title. It will be calculator, and hopefully it should show. Yeah, so calculator is shown here. So now let's add a simple label. A label is nothing but just a simple text which is being displayed. Label is a class in Tkinter. So we want to display label in our root window, which is this one. So first we'll have to write root, and then what text we want to write in it. So I'll just write hey there, this is my first label. Okay, so let's see if this displays anything. No, it doesn't. Why? Because in Tkinter everything, every widget, be it a label, be it a button, we have to define it in 2 steps. The first step being this one, where we define in which window it should be placed, what should be the text, and also some other factors. The second step would be, I will just put it as L1. The second step would be to define its location in the window. So to define its location, we can use either pack, or we can use grid, or we can use place. So there are three methods within the geometry manager of Tkinter. So I'll go with pack for now. This is a simple one. I'll just have to write l1.pack and that's it. So let's run and see how it looks. So here it is. This is my first label. It is there, and the window size has shrunken to the size of the label. So if you want our window size to be fixed at some value, we can just write root.geometry, and within quotes we can write width 400 into height, suppose 600. Let's see if this works, and it does work. No, it doesn't. Sorry, I'll have to a small x. Now it works. So here's the label. The width and size, the width and height of the window is fixed now. Whatever I put here will come. So what this pack function does is, as in the sequence in which it is being called in the code, it just puts those labels or buttons, those widgets, whatever we have, in separate rows, one after another. Suppose I define a button over here, button root, and I put the text as click me, right? And I define it as b1.pack. Let's see what happens. So the button has been placed right next to it. Similarly, if I add one more button, b2.button, again on root, and I put the text clear, and I do b2.pack. Now I run it. So the clear has been pasted next to it, right? So this is how pack works. When we switch to grid, in grid we divide the whole window into grids like we have in tables. So in grid we have to define something called a row and something called a column. So if I put row 0, column 0, this is where the first label will be put in the window. Similarly for button 1, I will say row equal to 1, column equal to 0, or let me put it as row equal to 0, column equal to 1. Okay, now grid, let me put it as row equal to 1 and column equal to 0. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so the label is in row 0, column 0, the first cell within the grid. Click me is in row 0, column 1, column next to it, and clear is in row 1 and column 0. So like this we can use the grid with a bit more flexibility than pack function, right? So for now we have these buttons, but clicking on these buttons doesn't do anything. So we want to add some functionality, some commands to this button. So let's see how we can do that. So for button, let me put command equal to, let me write it as clicked. So this clicked has to be a function within our program, which is being called every time this button is clicked. So let me define a function with the name clicked, and what it will do, it will just add a label in the program, which in the root window with the text as you have clicked the button, and I'll place it L1, and I'll place it in row equal to 1 and column equal to 1. Let's see how it works. So here it is. I click on the button, click me, and I have the text, you have clicked the button. If I click it again, it stays the same, because every time the same text gets overwritten at the same position, row 1 and column 1. That is why we are not able, it is getting overwritten every time. Okay, so now let us move on and add some more functionality to it. I've opened a lot of windows. So let me close all of these. Okay, now we are ready. So what I want to do is, when I click on this button, click me, it should display this text. That's working. And now when I click on this button clear, it should clear whatever has been written over there. So I'll write the function clear, def clear, and I'll go here. So how to do that? One way to do it is, let me define this as global L. So I'm defining this label L as a global variable so that it can be used outside this click function as well. And in this clear, I will take input a widget, and this widget text should become equal to 0. Okay, so let me see if I say here clear and I pass L, it should work in normal cases. Let's see, does it work now or not. So I'll run the program. It doesn't work here itself. What does it say? It says that name L is not defined. So in the command function, we cannot write the name of a function with these parentheses. We just need to write these functions. So what if we want to pass any value when we click on the button? For that, we'll use something called lambda in Python. Lambda is a single line function. I'll write lambda, I'll write clear, and then I'll pass on L. Let's see if this works. So I click on click me, text is displayed. I click on clear, it is cleared, right? So this lambda is basically a one-line function, which in turn calls this clear function. So what we are saying is that when we press on this button clear, it calls the function lambda, and then the lambda function calls the clear function with the parameter L, right? So I click on click me, it displays the text. I click on clear, it clears the text. Okay, so good so far. So we know the basic functionality of how to add a button, how to add a label, and how to call a function whenever we click on a button. Now we want to create a calculator. So let me remove all this. I'll have a root equal to pk, and I'll have a root dot main loop. Okay, so first of all, let's build a simple GUI for our calculator. So for our calculator, let us have a look what we had earlier. We want something like this. So we want these buttons. There are 3 cross 5, 15 plus 1, 16 buttons we have for the numbers 1 to 0, 1 to 9 and 0, and the operation plus minus, multiplication and division, one button for equal and one button for clearing the text. So we want to have 16 buttons and we want to place them in this fashion. So we are going to use grid for this. So let me, and also I missed one thing. We have this place where the text is getting displayed, and that we can do with something called entry in root. Let's see how this looks. It doesn't show up because I have not defined its place. I'll define it root.grid, row equal to 0, column equal to 0, and column, let me keep it like this for now. So you see we have something here where we can write and where we can display some text. Okay, so this is the entry. This E will be the place where our numbers are getting displayed before and after the operations whatever we perform. So now let us add some buttons. I'll add a button in the root window. I want it in the next row, column equal to 0. Oh, extremely sorry, this will be text equal to 1. Okay, and I want to place this button dot grid at row equal to 1 and column equal to 0. So let me make copies of this button. Okay, this will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This will be row 1, column 2. This will be column 1, column 2, column 1, column 2, and I'll shift to next row and next row. So let's see how this looks. So there's some problem with this. What is the problem? The problem is that this E, this entry widget, it takes up this much width within the first cell, that is row 0 and column 0, and that is why this whole column, the length is fixed to its length. What we want to do is we want to span this entry widget across all these 3 columns. So for that we need to write column span equal to 3. If you are familiar with HTML coding, this is something we usually do in tables in HTML. Let me build this. Okay, now it looks better, but there is some gap between these buttons which I think it would be good if we can fill it. So we can fill it by writing within this button function pad x, that is in x direction, that is horizontal direction. Pad y is for vertical direction. So if I write pad x equal to 30, let's see how it looks. I add it to first row. Okay, so it looks good. The buttons are very close to each other. It has been done for the first row. Let me now copy this and do it for rest of the rows. Okay, looks good. But this entry widget, we need to stretch it a bit so that it fits the whole area perfectly. So we can write here as width equal to, let's try with 30. Let's see how it looks. Okay, looks good. I can do 25. Okay, I guess 25 is better. And I can also write relief equal to sunken. This gives a certain sunken look to this widget. You can see it looks like it is inside the screen. It is with sunken inside the screen. Okay, good so far. So we also need to add more buttons. Let me do that. This will be for 0. This will be for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and one more for division. Okay, so this will be in row 4, sorry, this will be row 4, and column 0, column 1, column 2. Okay, I made a mistake. This will be row 4 and for 0 1 2. This will be in row 5 column 0. This will be in row 5 column 1. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so good so far. We have to change the value of pad x for plus and division a little bit, and also for subtraction. Let's see. Okay, so for addition we need to decrease it, and for both of them we need to increase it. For addition, let me put it as 28. For addition, let me put as 28, and for subtraction, let me increase the 32. Let's see. Yeah, looks good. Also, we need to add one more, which will be column 2, and it will be the equal sign. The equal sign, padding 30. Okay, looks good. And in the bottommost row, we need to add one more button, and this will be the clear button, and we want it to pad x 100 dot grid row equal to 6 column equal to 0, and we want the column span to be 3. It should span across all the 3 rows, 3 columns. Here it is. So it looks good. I can decrease the pad x. I can decrease it to maybe 95. Okay, so it looks good. So we have our UI ready, but clicking on these buttons doesn't do anything. So we want to add the functionality to all these buttons, right? So let me just start with the first button, 1. So I want to add command and clicked, but I want to pass the parameter 1. That I need to ensure that the function knows that which button is getting clicked. And for that, as shown earlier, we have to use lambda function. Okay, so we have lambda click 1. So I need to define a function clicked, which takes input a number. And what I want to do is I want to display that number, whatever is clicked, on this entry widget. So for that, I'll write e dot insert. I'll put 0, and I'll convert to string whatever number I get. So let's see if this works. No, it doesn't. Oh, sorry, it does. I added the functionality to number 1 only. So I click on 1 and it keeps on adding to the entry widget. Okay, looks good. So let's put this command for all of our buttons. 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. There's also a better way to do this, but I'm trying to keep things simple, and that's why we have to repeat the same thing so many times. Okay, so let's see if this works. So I click on 1 2 3 6 2 5 4 7 8 9 0. Okay, so the number is getting displayed, but the problem is that it is getting displayed in the reverse order. Okay, so let me show again what I mean. So in our calculator, when I press 1 and then 0, I want to display 10, but it is displaying 0 1. So we'll have to take care of that. So for that, we'll add a variable current. We will get the current value, whatever there is in the entry widget. Then we will delete whatever there is in the entry widget, and for deleting we'll have to write e.delete 0 end, and then we'll insert what was the current value plus what was the current number which was pressed. Okay, so let's do it. Let's see if this works. I press 1, then 0, then 2, then 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Works fine. Okay, so we have this click function. So now we can enter the number while pressing the buttons 1 2 3 2 9 and 0. Now what we need to do, we need to add the functionality for these buttons, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Okay, so for that let me add a command, and this will be, again I'll call lambda, then I'll call the function operation, and I'll pass add for addition, and similarly for others I'll do sub for subtraction, I'll do mul for multiplication, and div for division. Okay, so now I'll have to define a function operation. So I define operation, it takes up the operation whatever it is, addition, multiplication, division. So what do I need to do with this? First of all, I need to store this value in some variable, and I want this variable to be global. We'll get to that why we need to have this as a global variable later on. So I have a global variable operate. I store the value of op, which is add, sub, multiplication or division, in this function. Okay, and what I'll do, I'll have one more global variable as fnum, which is the first number, and in the first number I'll store in float format e dot get. So what this does is, whatever there is in this entry widget, I'll take that value, it returns a string, I'll convert it to a float, and I'll store it as the first number, and I also store the operation in the global variable operate. This is all I do in the operation function. So now when I press on equal to command, and I'll say equals, so now when I define this function equals, what I need to do is I need to know what the operation was, I need to know what the first number was, and I need to know what the current number is, that is again e dot get, what the current number is, and then I need to perform the operation. Okay, so let's see. So current number is the second number which we provide for the operation. So just to have a look, so first we enter suppose 2. Okay, then we click on plus, this is the operation, then we can enter the second number, this is the current. So this is stored in fnum, this is stored in operation, and this is stored in current. Then we have to perform the operation, which is 2 plus 3. This is what we need to do. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll check what is the value of op. So if op equal to add, we need to add these numbers. So if op is equal to add, we need to add these numbers, and we need to display it on the entry widget like we did for this. So what we'll do, we'll write e dot delete whatever is there first, then we'll dot e dot insert 0, and we will add these two numbers, that is fnum plus, convert this to float, current. Okay, so we have added a functionality for adding the numbers. For now, let's see if this works. So I have 2, I write plus 3. No, it doesn't work. Why does it not work? So op is not defined. Okay, so this should be again operate as the global function, and when I press on operation, I want to delete whatever is written in the entry widget. So now let me run it again. Okay, so let me press 2 plus 2 equals 4.0. Okay, sure, so it works, right? So we have added a functionality for adding the numbers. Similarly, what we want to do is we want to add 4 more functions. So I'll write else if the operation is subtract, we will do first num minus this. Else if the operation is multiply, we'll do first num multiplied by this. If the operation is division, we'll do first num divided by this. Okay, all this in else if. Let me run this. Okay, so here we have it. So let me do 1 plus 2, let's give 3. Now the 3 minus 9 gives minus 6, right? Minus 6 multiplied by 4 should give minus 24. It does. Divide this by 2 should give minus 12. It does. Okay, so our calculator is more or less ready. The only function we need to add is this clear function, right? So this is the function clear button. We add a command and the function is clear. So we define the clear function. In the clear function, I want to delete whatever is there in the widget. I want to reinitiate fnum as blank, nothing in there. I want to reinitiate operation as blank, nothing in there. Okay, so let's see if this works now. So we have this function calculator 2 plus 8 gives 10. Let me clear this. It has been cleared. Let me write 12 divided by 6 equals 2 divided by 5. Cleared. 5 divided by 2 gives 2.5 divided by 7 gives 0.35. Looks good to me. Plus 9 gives 9.35. So it works. So guys, this is all. We have made a simple calculator. We can add many more functions to it. We can make the code look even better. We can use classes instead of defining the buttons and functions like this. We can define this whole thing within a single class. We can do many such things. We can add many more functionality. You can try and add more functions to it. If you want to, like maybe sine, cos and tan, you can add that as well. So this was a basic introduction to Tkinter library and how to make a calculator with it. Hope you guys liked it.